Hello, everyone. Welcome to the series of leadership talks which we have been having. And today we have with us Namrata. Namrata has done her master's in international business, economics, and finance. And economics is an integral part of any data analytics work. And it is even more important when it comes to banking, financial services, insurance. After doing her advanced management program in business analytics from ISB, Namrata worked with HDFC. Then she worked with Reserve Bank of India as well. Then she worked with Axis Bank as a data scientist. Then she worked with Publicis Group as a senior business analyst. And now she's working with HDFC Bank. So, from working with HDFC, I think HDFC is the first company that you worked with, and then now we are back to the company. It's a good boomerang, I believe. So thank you so much, Namrata, for pulling off your time from your busy schedule to talk about data science and AI and what kind of work happens. So the first question, Namrata, which a lot of professionals who want to get into this field of data science and AI would ask is, what kind of work happens in banks in the space of AI, now generative AI, etc.? Would you like to throw some light on what kind of real world projects are accomplished in banking, financial services, insurance?
Right. So I think within the banking sector itself, over the past 10 years, and I'm saying that as a very small amount of time, has changed dramatically. So, like you had mentioned, I was an intern at HDFC Bank way back in 2015, and now I'm working there in the analytics team itself. And I can see how much there is a difference in the approach to data. So, a lot of traditional methods, a lot of things that involved so much manual intervention, which usually fell to the hands of interns like me, are now being automated. So, to give you like a little bit of going into that a little bit more, within banking itself, one of the major uses of analytics is to no bank wants to take on bad customers. So when lending, any bank is trying to minimize what their risk will be. And there are people like me and others who sit and try to identify who these best people to provide these loans are. So that by automating that process, because I mean, very traditionally speaking, you would walk into a bank, you would say that here are my details, here is all the documentation that I can provide. Then someone manually sits and checks all these documents. They check whether the documents are legitimate or not. We live in a country where it's very easy to get any document if you pay a certain bribe. So how do we check what the legitimacy of these documents are? And after all of that, by the time you get your loan, it is a long process. So it takes like a month, 2 months, depending on the type of loan. But now there are few banks like HDFC which are providing you a personal loan in 10 seconds. So you take your phone, you click saying that I'm interested in a personal loan, and you're automatically disbursed within 10 seconds itself. So what happens in the back end? They take in like some of your criteria. They see how you are performing with other banks. If you have a loan with another bank, how are you repaying it? Are you repaying it well? How much balance do you maintain in your bank? You take like a few factors and you're able to identify whether you as a person would be able to repay the loan or not. And so I'm able to make this process faster for you by, pre-approving you maybe. Or if I'm going to, or even if you walk in and you're not pre-approved, if I can make this turnaround time a little bit faster, that's the benefit to the bank as well, because that's reducing man hours, and that's a benefit to the customer as well, who gets a loan in a little faster time. So that's one of the main things that we look at. But I also think banking in itself is evolving a lot. So I'm all the things that I spoke about just now, we're talking about very traditional data points. By that I mean, I'm collecting your phone number from you, I'm collecting your where are you from, I'm collecting basic information from you. But banks are also using like alternate sources of data right now, so that they can provide like personalized offers to you. So if I see that you are repaying your loans well, you recently purchased a house, then maybe I can cross sell a life insurance for you. Or I see that your family is evolving and growing, I can cross sell an education loan to you. So all of this type of insights, and these are just the broad products I'm talking about, but what sort of personalizations I can provide you as a customer so that you're more likely to take my loan, is something that the banking industry is very looking forward, is looking into it very deeply right now. So these are just two like small use cases, one from a more marketing angle and one from a more credit risk angle. But there's a vast world in fraud, in there's a lot going on in the banks with respect to AI and data science and what insights can come out.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Namrata. These two are two interesting use cases, and it covers two different spectrums of the data science work which happens in the space of BFSI. You spoke about detecting whether the customers are good or bad even before you approve the loan, and then looking at all the documents and then figuring out whether the documents are legitimate or not. That in itself will take days together. But this came as a news for me that personal loan in HDFC is approved within 10 seconds. That's amazing. It's groundbreaking. And then you also spoke about data collection, very important aspect. Without data, you cannot do any analytics. And you spoke about collecting the data from different data sources, from different touch points, and then doing cross-selling and upselling based on the data points that you have collected. Because at the end of the day, it's all about business. How much money do you make for the business using AI, right? And all these use cases have a direct return on investment, which can be measured immediately. So the adoption of AI and of course now Gen AI in the space of BFSI is extremely prevalent. And of course, alongside that, you have a lot of other use cases such as fraud detection and all, which are more of run of the mill. Thank you. Thank you so much for throwing some light on this. Namrata, another question is, a lot of professionals want to get into banks such as Axis Bank, HDFC, etc., and they want to work as data scientists. If you were to interview someone and if you were to hire someone into your team, what are the kind of skills that you look for?
So I think anybody getting into any data field itself, the first piece of advice I would give them is have your fundamentals absolutely straight. By that I mean the underlying mathematics, the underlying statistics, because I feel algorithms keep coming and going. I feel softwares keep changing. But the first thing you look at is, are you able to understand why we're doing this sort of statistical analysis? And once you get the statistical analysis, how do I interpret it? I can say I've done a regression, I've run some decision trees, I have done this, I have done that. But at the end of the day, am I able to explain how this can be used? What is the outcome? With what confidence I can go and show it to the next person? That becomes the most important. And why I'm particularly mentioning this in the banking field is because banking is a highly, highly regulated field. So the RBI looks at every single move that is done. So even one bit, if you are saying that I'm pre-approving a loan, all those models have to be run by RBI before it gets live. So if you are going to say that you're using this statistical method, you need to make sure that the statistical method is sound and it is industry practice and it is standard practice. So having your fundamentals down will always help explain it to another person. So that's the biggest piece of advice that I would give. The second one is, I think with each bank, their programming language of choice keeps changing. Having your SQL, your Python, all of that down would help you adapt to whatever programming language the bank is using. Usually, you can pretty much make do with SQL and Python because they cover almost everything. Another thing I would say is understanding banking itself. That's where maybe my economics background is speaking from there. But understanding how the products work, understanding how the bank makes money, understanding the people, everything to do with the product itself, because it's not just a simple thing of walking into a bank and getting a loan. There are so many different factors. Why is the interest rate for a home loan different from the interest rate of a car loan, for example? So understanding the product in a little more detail will help you work on the product better and give better insights, because at the end of the day, you're getting hired to provide the best possible insights. And I think the fourth and the most important thing would be how you can communicate those insights well. Because every business is looking at, when they're investing in a data center, they're trying to see what the outcome of it can be. So you're trying to explain what the impact of your analysis will be, and they can only justify that cost from a very business point of view. They can only justify that cost if you're providing good insights, good actionable insights, and those can only come when you're able to communicate them well, you're able to explain them well. Because you can do the best analysis in the world, and if it's not communicated in the right way to the right people, it just sits doing nothing. So to take that forward, I would say that I would see how a person would communicate well, how they can explain their insights, and all of that.
Wow, wonderful. So there are 4 key points which Namrata has just now explained. A, have your fundamentals right, math and stat behind the scenes, how algorithms work in general, etc. Because algorithms change over a period of time, new algorithms emerge, then tools change, softwares change, but the fundamentals remain the same. Fundamentals have been same for ages, and that will remain so. And then any banking industry is governed by a lot of regulatory bodies, a lot of regulatory norms. So explainability becomes very important. You need to understand what kind of models you need to use and all that, and sink into the culture, right? Whatever cloud platform a specific bank is using, whatever programming language they are using, you try to adopt, learn, do some maybe due diligence before you interact with Namrata in interviews, and understand what kind of tools are being used in HDFC. And domain expertise, very important. Understanding different products. When Namrata said products, she clearly communicated that you'll have personal loan, you'll have car loan, education loan, etc. Why the interest rates are different, right? And the finer nuances of those products would actually position yourself better in the interviews. Finally, storytelling is very, very important. The way you communicate the work that you do is extremely important because it's ultimately return on investment. How well you communicate on what will be the return on investment would actually determine whether you'll get a job or not. Right? So these are a few key points which Namrata has explained. Thank you so much, Namrata, for pulling off your time from the busy schedule. The inputs that you have provided will be extremely helpful, especially for those people who want to get into this banking, financial services, insurance, right? Thank you so much once again. All the best for you, and your economics background and the data science knowledge would ensure that you scale in your career. No doubt about that. Do stay in touch, and all the best for your future.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for having such a nice platform that everybody is able to, come in and see which field they're interested in, and have people who have worked in that field give you their insights, because there are so many different fields and there are so many people confused. So having someone actually working there and providing insights is always helpful for me, and it's a very great thing that you're doing. So thank you for doing this.
Thank you so much. All the best.
Thank you.